eliciting requirements. Eliciting requirements or requirement gathering or making more out of what is required or understanding the requirement, all these are same. The requirement elicitation, we also call it as requirement gathering. So first thing come is to get the requirement. That is the inception case. Then you want the requirement elicitation. For that we have problem solving, elaboration, negotiation, specification. Because when you understand the requirement, you understand the problem. Then you have to solve that problem. Then you have to more elaborate the problem to understand the insights. Then for the time and cost and budget, you need to negotiate. And then finally, both the parties agrees on a specification on certain written document. For example, the user and the software team, they agree on certain terms. So the main idea is to collaborate, that is, sit together and discuss and decide. So this, in order to encourage the collaborative, team-oriented approach, because in order to get the requirement, we need all to sit together. So we work with the stakeholders. So what I'm trying to suggest here is, software team and this software stakeholders, they collaborate and they would like to identify the problem, then they can propose the solution. They can also negotiate and for certain approaches with whether something is right or something is not correct. Then they can have a preliminary set of solution requirements. So all is collaborative requirements gathering. That is, all the parties should sit together, they discuss, and then finally get to certain points where both agree on the requirements. So what are the guidelines for this collaborative requirements gathering? There are certain rules. Collaboration will get you more information. How? Let us see. The first one is meeting. It can be real. It can be virtual. In today's terms, it can be on Zoom or Google Team. So here we have the software engineer, that is the team from the software, who is going to make the project, and the stakeholders, that is who are directly or indirectly related to the software. Then we have to plan the meeting, that is who is going to participate, what you are going to discuss. So for that we have to make an agenda. So an agenda will be made on all the important points that are going to be discussed in this meeting. But it needs to be informal. Requirement gathering is all about informal meeting because we want free flow of ideas. We cannot be rigid here, that only this agenda we are going to discuss, we will not entertain this talk. There should be a facilitator, a person in the meeting, because sometimes conflict may arise, sometimes the topic may be missed. So all these can be any customer, developer, or an outsider. He can be a facilitator. So he is just to control the meeting, to follow or to make the meeting in a good way so that something comes out of it. If you want to display something, discuss something, there is always different ways. Worksheets, flip charts, wall stickers, electronic bulletin board, chat room, virtual forum. So these are the definition mechanisms. This can also be employed in this meeting. So these are the guidelines. The idea of this meeting is to do what? The goal is to first identify the problem, what this software is going to solve, or what exactly the problem the users have. Then we'll negotiate certain approaches. This is correct, this is incorrect. Oh, we have to follow this. No, we don't have to follow this like this. And then finally, we have to have a preliminary set of solution requirements. That is, these are the requirements users have. Software team also understand, okay, these are the requirements I have to implement. So for that, this collaborative requirements meeting, in order to follow these the guidelines, a 1 or 2 page of product request is generated. This is done before the meeting. That is, I'll show you what exactly we have to write here. I'll just give you a glimpse of that with an example. So first we have to decide which meeting place, time and date. Then who will be the chairperson, that is the facilitator, and who will attend the team, and who will be the stakeholder who are going to be invited. So all the people who are going to be invited, they will be distributed this product request which has been generated, and this has to be done before the meeting can commence. Okay, so a product request is with everyone now. I'll give an example first. Just understand, we are making a safe home project. That is a project which will keep the home safe. You can say an alarm system or a security system. That is, no burglary can take place, carbon monoxide levels it can check for various other things. So this is the product we are going to make. This is a safe home project. Let us call it as a safe home project. So we want to save and make the homeowner safe and the family safe. For that, what project we are going to see and discuss. So now this is the product request. I'm giving you an excerpt of a product request. And this has been written by a marketing person, that our research indicate the market is already using the home management system. It is growing 40% per year. So this safe home is the name of the project. Let us say it can be any other name, but here we are talking about this safe home, and we would like to market it as home security function, with the home security function. So most of the people, they are aware of the alarm system. So this home security will also be a hit, or they can be easily blend into the society. And this home security function will protect the families, the homes, from various undesirable situations, burglars, illegal entry, thieves, even the fire, because we can put a sensor who can detect fire, heat, flooding, it can detect water, it can detect the carbon monoxide levels, and there are various others we can discuss. So this is Safe Home is a project which the software team and the stakeholders want to make, and this is to safeguard the home. So in this, the user is asking and the other people are saying, we will use the wireless sensor, motion sensor, and see carbon monoxide sensor. So if the monoxide level increases, or say there is some motion in the night, then it can detect and it can give you some idea, it can give you alarm, you know what is happening. So the homeowner can program this, because he should be the whole soul user, and this will automatically, if something happens, it can call on the number. For example, in India we have 100, in US and Canada we have 911. So these are the emergency numbers where you can call. So the system should call itself. So this is a requirement gathering meeting we are talking about, and this is a collaborative kind of requirement gathering meeting. And this is the initial kind of meetings. So we would like to get the requirement. So there are certain players who are discussing. You see how these meetings are connected. The first is Jimmy Lazar. He is a software team member. So he is from the software side. That is the company who is making the software. Then we have Vinod Raman. He is also from the software team member. This is again from the team who is making the software, or who is going to make the software. Then we have another member of this team, which is called Ed Robbins. And then above them we have Doug Miller, and he is a software engineering manager. Doug Miller is a software engineering manager. There are three members from the marketing team who are going to market this product. And then we have a product engineering representative and a facilitator. Facilitator who is going to facilitate or manage the meeting. So you'll see how the conversation will take place, what meeting discussion will have, and what is the role of the facilitator. Okay. So the facilitator says this is the current list of the objects and services of home security function. Marketing guy says this covers all. So Vinod says, did someone mention that the company who is asking for this software solution, they want it all on the internet? So marketing says, yes, that's right. We'll have to add this functionality, and with reference to this functionality, we have to add certain objects also. So facilitator asks, now he asks about the constraints. Now Jamie says, yes, both technical and legal, we have this constraint. So production rep, he says, what does it mean? So Jamie says, we better make sure that outsider, he couldn't hack the system. If someone hacks to the system, disarm it, he can rob the place. We have a very heavy legal liability on our part. Okay? So Doug says yes, because he's a software engineering manager. He said very true. But marketing people say no, but we still want the solution. Okay? Just be sure that anybody cannot hack. So Ed says it's not so easy. Now facilitator says we don't want to debate on this. Let us discuss this issue later. Now Doug, he is serving as the recorder also. Now he is writing and he write an appropriate note on this discussion. Now facilitator says, okay, I have a feeling that still more need to be considered here. And then the group spends 20 minutes refining the earlier discussions, expanding details of this home security function. So I'm just trying to give you a glimpse of how the meeting goes. How do we gather the requirement in a meeting? What are the roles of different participants? So under this collaborative requirements gathering, when both the parties sit together and various others, and they want to find out the requirement. So now the product request has been given, and this has been discussed. These are reviewed, the product request. Now all the attendee, whichever is present, everyone is asked to make 3 lists. First is the list of objects, because you know the system or you are anticipating a system. What will be the list of objects? Okay, I'll tell you all these, what are the examples. But let us understand first that 3 lists are to be produced. That is the list of objects. Then they will be asked to make another list. The list will be consisting of services. What are the processes and function? Because if you are making a list of the objects, that is will be the part of the system environment. How the list of services that are going to interact or manipulate these objects. So this is another list. The third list will be the list of constraints and the performance criteria. Constraint can be with respect to cost, size, the business rules. And the performance criteria can be what speed you want, what accuracy you want. So these are the performance criteria. So ultimately, we have 3 lists: list of objects, list of services, and then list of constraints. Now, in the safe home project, that is the security project, home security, what can be the objects? For example, if someone has to write, this can be control panel, the smoke detectors, the window and door sensors, the sensor that will be put when the door and window will be open, the motion detectors, an alarm, an event because the sensor, if a sensor has been activated, an alarm, a display, a PC, a mobile, a telephone number, and a telephone call, like this. So these will come in the list of objects list. So what can be the list of services? These are the functions actually. So this will consist of configuring the system, then setting the alarm. This can be one activity or functions. Monitoring the sensors. Then we have to dial the phone. Programming the control panel. This can also be a process or a function. And reading the display. And if you see here, all these services will be acting on the objects, the list of objects. So this, I'm just giving an idea if you want to write the list of services, what you're going to put here. Now the objects is there. Now the services are there. Now the third list will consist of the constraints. So what can this constraint consist of? That is, for example, when some sensors are not working. If the sensors are not working, this is the constraint. What the system should do? It should be user friendly, and it could directly call the phone line like the 911 and the 100s. So this, if you call 911 just like that, that is not good in these countries which I talked about. So you have to be very sure. Then the performance criteria, that is the response time, the sensor event, say it should be recognized in 1 millisecond or 1 second. And what is the priority? All these events, because multiple events are taking place, what is the priority? So these are the list of constraints and performance criteria. I hope you got the idea. Now, after this individual list, because every person has prepared 3 lists. So one person has made a list. Everyone has 3 lists. So now these lists are presented. Now the group combines this list. When they combine the list, they'll see where there is redundancy. They'll put just one of them. Okay. And if any new entry is there, because one may have one entry, the other may not have that entry. So that will be a new idea. So we'll add on the final list this idea. But here we won't delete anything. Now this combined list, which has been made for 3 lists actually. So this list of objects, list of services and lists of constraint. These are shorter, lengthened, or they can be even reworded. What is the objective? It is collaborative requirement gathering. The objective is to develop that everyone has a consensus on these 3 things: object, services, and the constraints and the performance. So this is what we are doing. But sometimes some of the object, some of the services, some of the performance requirement, they may be described more. They need more explanation. For that, the stakeholder will be asked to develop a mini specification for that entry, which need to be discussed more. For example, he can do it by making a use case of that object or a service that needs more explanation. So there will be a mini specification. I'll show you the mini specification also, what needs to be made. So it can be a use case. It is more friendly because it is diagrammatic. So I'll show you a mini spec for this particular project, Safe Home Security, and say the control panel object needs to be discussed more. So how this control panel can be written if a stakeholder wants a mini spec. So the mini specification will consist of, say, a control panel will be a wall mounted. That will be a unit, and the size is around 230 by 130 millimeter. And in the mini specs, we can have the control panel. It will be wirelessly connected to the sensors and the PCs and the mobile. This can be another point in the mini specs. User interaction occurs through some keys. The numbers are also provided, 12 keys, keypad. There will be a 75 by 75 mm display, which will be OLED, color display. And software will give you prompts, echoes, and certain functions. So this will be a kind of mini spec, right? In order to discuss more about a service or an object. Now this mini spec is again presented to all the stakeholders for discussing, in order to add certain thing, in order to remove certain thing, and for further discussion, elaboration, and deliberation. So sometimes this mini spec, that is the major object or a services, this will uncover in this meeting new objects, even new services or the constraints or performance requirements or performance criteria. If certain issues are still unresolved, it will be put in an issues list, because we have to discuss it later. We will not leave anything. We will discuss it later. So there are certain questions in the meeting stakeholders would answer question. You have to answer. Okay, stakeholder may ask, can we build this system now? Can you build this system? So, for example, the Safe Home system, can it be built? Will this development process can beat our competitors? Is this good enough? Can we beat these competitors? And do you have resources? Can you maintain this system later? These are the stakeholder question, and you need to answer properly. And the performance also, they may ask, what are the performance? Will the system performance meet the needs of our customers? Because they are making it for the customers. This is all about business.